Now, to this point, we have talked about list, right? Now, list is one of the collection API concept. It supports index values, right? So we can create a list and we can work with indexes there. The only thing is, when you talk about list, of course, it's great. It does support multiple values. Example, let's say, and that's a feature. Okay, I'm not talking about the drawbacks of it. So I can say I can add an element, let's say 6 again. If you can see, I have two elements with the same value, which is 6. Now, if you're wondering what is this E here, again, this is given by my VS Code. It simply means element. And if you see, if I try to run this code, if I compile this code and run, you can see, okay, we're not printing all the values, is it? No, we're not printing all the values. So I will just remove these two lines and focus only on the for loop here. And let's see if this works now. So I will say compile and run. You can see we got, I guess we are doubling as well, right? Anyway, you can see we have a list which has same values. So yes, your list does support repeated values. But sometimes you want to have a collection where you can only have a unique values. Remember when we talked about the collection as an interface, it is also extended by a set interface. Now set supports unique values. Okay, so what I will do now is I will have the same values, okay? But instead of using list, I will say set, and let me import the package for this. I will say control space enter, and we got a package for set as well. And then I want to specify not an array list, okay? Because see, the thing is, if we talk about set, yes, set extends collection, but the class which implements set is different, and the class name is HashSet. Okay, I can import the package for this as well, and done. Apart from this, the syntax will remain same. We also specify the type here, the generic type, which is integer. And okay, let me remove the list import. Let's only have set and has set. And you can see we can have the same method add also here, and we can print all the values. The only thing is here I will be very specific that I'm working with integers. Let me remove this, and I also want to print the value num. That's it. Okay, now when you have these values, let me just compile and run. You can see now the value is 2, 5, 6, 8. First of all, we can't have a repeated value. You can see 6 and 6. We only got 1, 6 here. The second thing is it is not following the sequence. Remember, if you can see, the sequence is 6, 5, 8, 2. But we are getting the values in sorted format. Is it really sorted? Let's try. What I will do is I will just make this. Okay, first of all, we know that we cannot have repeated values. I mean, we can add it. It's just that it will not have the same value again. Let me just make this as 54. I will make this as 82. I will make this as 21. And this is, let's say, 62. Again, we have a bigger values now. Let's see if they are really sorted. I will say compile and run. If you can see, it's not actually sorted. It's 82, 21, 54, 62. Okay, it is not sorted, and it is not even going for a sequence. And that's how this set works. Set will not give you value in this sorted format. Okay, it basically uses, and it also doesn't have index value. Example, if I say nums dot, for list, remember we had a get. Here we don't have get. I mean, we don't have a get which takes element. We do have a get class, but we don't want it. We want a get method using which you can specify the index value. Set does not support index value. So certain things to remember for set. So set basically is a collection of a unique value. If you see documentation, it says a collection that contains no duplicate elements, and it does not even have index value. Is it not mentioned anywhere? Anyway, so you can't have index value. And remember when I mentioned about collection API, it was introduced in 1.2, and also it is also called collection framework. Okay, instead of saying API, you can also say it's collection framework. Cool. So this is your set, and that's how it works. What if you want a sorted value? So instead of using HashSet, we can use something called a TreeSet. So let me import the package for this. Import. And now if you try to work with this, so you can see we got all the sorted values. So basically this TreeSet actually extends, if you see, it extends an abstract set and implements a navigational set. And if I go to navigational set, you can see this interface actually extends a sorted set. And that's why all the elements in this tree set will be sorted. Okay, it is a set, but then it is sorted set. So it depends upon what type of elements you want to work with. If you want to trace a particular element, then tree set makes sense. But if you want to have a set which will have only unique values, there is no need for ordering. You can go for hash set there. One more thing, instead of saying set here, we can also say collection. Even that works, because anyway, the tree set implements set and set extends collection, right? So we can use that as well. One more thing to add, if you look at collection and if you look at our diagram, on top of collection we have one more interface which is called iterable. Since we can iterate between the elements, right, with the help of enhanced for loop or different, we have different options. So it actually extends iterable, and if you go to iterable, we have a option called iterator. So that even that is one option. You can use a iterator method, which will give you a iterator itself. Let me show you how that works. Instead of using a for loop, I can say nums.iterator, right? So we got the iterator. Now this iterator will give you the iterator back, the iterator object. I will say this iterator is integer. I will import the package, and here I can say values equal to. So from this iterator, I got all the values here, and then from this values, I can print the values. I know that sounds weird, right? But let's do that. I'm not using a for loop. So how do you print all the values? So basically, values has a method called hasNext, and it also has a method called next, which will give you the next element. Okay, it will give you a next element, but it will only give you one element, right? I can put that in a loop to get all the elements. But which loop we have to use? In fact, what I will do is I will just try to print this next element. But the problem is it will only give you one element. How will I use a loop here? Because see, if I use a loop, I need to know how many elements we have, right? So one thing we can do here is we can use a while loop, because it has a method called values.hasNext. Now hasNext will tell you that do we have a next element, okay? And let's try if that works, compile and run, and you can see we got the values. So even this, we can also use iterator, that's also an option, and that's why we got the topmost interface, which is iterator. So that's how we use set, iterator, and TreeSet. We can also try it with the linked HashSet, but then, yeah, internally they work differently, but you can get the values.